10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good luck, studio.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Paul Chandler, the shy Yeti. He's not that shy.
Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
All I wanted was a pie, and then I hatched out of an egg.
Okay, bring the mic over. He's ready to record.
It's the quiet ones you've got to watch, you know.
Is it metaphorical? Is it deep? Is it deep?
Boy, he's not all that shy, is right.
Blimey, Governor, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Excellent.
509.
Hello, campers. How are you?
Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Shy Life Podcast with me, Paul the Shy Yeti. How are you doing? I'm all right. I'm out and about today. In fact, we're going to be out and about all episode. At least I hope we are. But, well, I'll explain a bit more after we've run the theme music. So, yeah, that'll be coming up any minute. I'm just waiting for it to arrive. I'm at a railway station, you see. So it may be a couple of minutes late. So I guess I have to keep talking until the theme music arrives. Oh, here it is. Back in a minute.
Darling, it's the Shy Life Podcast.
Yes, but it's a positive statement, Paul. The High Life, the Shy Life.
You won't find a cast of characters like this everywhere.
Hello, Paul.
You don't want four nuts, do you?
I'll go anywhere for a potato.
This particular episode of The Shy Life is a little more abstract than usual.
Go Shy Yeti.
Oh my, he hasn't found out my secret. Yes, he has.
If you thought that was bad, just listen to this.
Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait for it to begin.
It's the Shy Life Podcast.
So would you be sidetracked?
Yeah, I'm strangely drawn to Yeti Angry John's ankles as well.
But has the Shy Life Podcast slowed down? I don't think so.
It's all gooey and meaty and yum, 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 yum.
Hello again, listeners. So, where am I? Where am I going? Well, I'm recording this on Weybridge Station, which is only a stop down from where I live. I just thought I'd have a little potter. I'm actually in the waiting room, which I don't think I've ever been in before. There's a coffee shop on the platform. So I got the train, I bought myself a coffee. I'm just going to drink the coffee, and then I'm going to go for a little potter in the woods. But I won't be long. But this is considering it's January when I'm recording this, it's been quite a nice week. I went out to Richmond Park earlier in the week, but anyway, you'll hear all about that one day if you haven't heard about it already. But anyway, it's another nice sunny day today. Actually, my mum's birthday. It's her 78th birthday today. Happy birthday, Mum. So I said I was going to be out and about all week. Well, that's because it's also Toby's birthday coming up, and we're planning on doing a few day trips out. And well, it kind of depends on the weather, kind of depends on a number of things. I'm hoping to see Callum as well for lunch. So I'm hoping there'll be at least one special guest, maybe a bit of Toby, maybe some of the regulars. If the worst comes to the worst, there'll just be lots of Sutton Park clips. But anyway, it's, I'm going to try and get out and about a bit more. But it's not easy. This morning I woke up. Last night I was very creaky. My hip was playing up, and I thought, maybe I'm not going to get to go for a walk. But I woke up this morning and it was fine again. So it's actually been quite good the last few weeks. I haven't really had any aches and pains that have stopped me doing what I planned since early December. So anyway, I need to go and drink this coffee, and so we've actually got quite a lot of new bits of music that Harry has composed for us. I guess he's composed them for himself, but he has allowed me to give them their debut on the show. So yes, there might be a bit of Harry music coming up, and then I'll hopefully have drunk my coffee, left the station, and be wandering in the woods somewhere. I need to get a move on because I want to get the 11:57 train back, and it's nearly 10:57 now. So yeah, as I said, just a little bit of exercise, and right, I'll get on with it. More in a moment. Hi listeners, I'm on Cobbett's Hill. Sounds more dramatic than it really is. Although Beatles fans may be interested because this is Beatles land, as far as this is where some of the Beatles lived, or Weybridges, back in the 60s, maybe even in the 70s, I'm not 100% sure. But yes, walking down a woody path, although it's more holly than woods. It's not as satisfying as the woods in Richmond Park the other day. The last time I came to Weybridge was, I think it was the summer of 2020. It was my big day out, effectively my summer holiday. I think it's the only time I went out around that time in 2020. But I'm the opposite side of the railway line this time, looking for somewhere to sit. Not necessarily a seat. A fallen tree would be perfect. I do actually have my seat with me, my little blue stool thing. But so I may crack that open in a minute. Very damp underfoot. But the leaves aren't too slippery. Almost feels like a summer evening. I mean, it is cold, but the light sort of reminds me of, as the sun is beginning to set. Just going to walk to the top of this incline. If there's not a seat, I shall make a seat. Hello again, listeners. Sorry about that. I have set up my little seat and I'm perched in a wooded glade. It's at a crossroads. I can go 4 different directions. One of them I've just come from, but anyway. It's very quiet. I did see somebody walking ahead of me when I first reached the crossroads to get over to the woods, but I'm sure they scooted on ahead. Yeah. So, I'm by myself. I think I am. I must admit, listeners, it does feel a bit like I'm being watched. Hello? Hello? Who is that? It's all right, Paul, it's just me. Oh, Yeti Uncle John. I heard a rustling in the bushes, and I presume the worst. What did you presume? I presumed it was you, and it was you. Oh, that's not very nice, Paul. It's not very nice. Why are you following me? I'm just keeping a lookout for you, Paul. Well, why didn't you just come with me? You could have taken part in the recording and just come with me. Oh, I thought you wanted to, get out and have some quality time with the listeners, just one-to-one. Well, that had been the plan, but, if you'd have said you wanted to come, I was just keeping an eye on you, that's all. A friendly eye. You did quite a good job until just then. I had no idea you were following me. Yes, well, I was a little bit behind you because I noticed you went in that coffee shop and, well, I had to go and get one myself. And then I drank my coffee and then I ate the croissant that I bought, and suddenly I realised that you were way on ahead, so I had to rush. So I'm a bit out of breath. So why did you think I needed looking after? Well, I thought that was obvious, Paul. The yoga vampires. We haven't seen them. There's no sign of them. I mean, we haven't heard about them. Yes, I know. We're still looking for information as to where they've got to. Yes. Well, can't just have them wandering around. It's just because they're not in this area anymore. We need to get that vampire hunter, like you said. Well, that's easier said than done. Yes. Well, I might have a connection. I found one called Diggory Jacobs in the Yellow Pages. I'll give Cromitty the address. Okay, well, whatever. They haven't been seen, though, so we have to sight them first. Yes, well, they've probably moved out of this immediate area, but, there's plenty of other places they can go and do yogaing. Yes, well, thank you for looking out for me anyway. You are right, if anyone made a charge at me now, I wouldn't get very far. No, you most certainly wouldn't. Not with your wobbly legs. I've got my stick. Has it got a sabre inside it? Hasn't. Neither a sabre nor a saber-toothed tiger. Well, no, you'd never get a saber-toothed tiger inside that walking stick. That's just stupid, Paul. Yes, also, despite the fact they're extinct and have been for quite some time, I'm sure Big Fatty remembers when there were saber-toothed tigers wandering the earth. I'm sure he does. Probably had one as a pet. Yes, he probably did. That's a good point. Yeah. Dear, oh dear. So what are you up to? Well, I'm just walking. Got to go back to the station in a minute because I've got to get the 11:57 train home. But after that, what's this episode all about? It's about getting out and about, seeing different things, which we don't know whether that'll happen yet or not. In which case, there'll be lots of Sutton Park clips. That's exactly what I said to the listeners, yes. It's almost like we share brains sometimes, Yeti Uncle John. It is, isn't it? You can tell we're related. Yes, you can. Yes. Look, we ought to head back. It's actually quite chilly under these trees. It's sunny, but it's chilly. It's chillier than it was when I went to Richmond Park the other day. But anyway. Right. Are you going to walk back with me to the station, or are you going to skulk in the bushes? Ooh, I quite enjoy skulking in the bushes, but maybe I'll walk back with you. Thank you. My own bodyguard. It's a pleasure. Yes. Do you need a hand up? Do I need a hand up? Hand up what? You know, stand up, from your little seat. Do you need me to help you stand up? No, it's very kind of you, but I think I can manage myself. Thank you. All right then. Come on then, let's go. Let's go, yes. Let's get back to the station. Come on, listeners. Don't dawdle. Hello, Big Fatty. It's me, Paul the Shy Yeti. I told you I'd record you a message, or another message. I'm out for another walk. Not as long as the one I did the other day. Well, that wasn't so much long as it took a while to get there. But now I've just jumped on the train, gone down one stop to a place called Weybridge, which is where a lot of the Beatles used to live in their big mansions back in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, it's hard to see those houses because they're sort of like in a gated community surrounded by trees. And I'm in some of those trees, but I'm not trying to see the houses today. I'm just stretching my legs. But actually, it's quite nice because when you get to Weybridge Station, there's a coffee shop with some nice coffee. So I had a coffee and recorded the beginning of a new episode, and I've been taking photos and recording a bit more. The sun's very nice. It's a very sunny day, and Yeti Uncle John is here with me. He was skulking in the bushes. He was acting as my bodyguard, but I didn't even know he was here. He's concerned for me walking by myself. Weren't you, Yeti Uncle John? I was, yes. So, hello, Big Fatty. Yes, I was a little bit concerned for him, so I skulked. I followed him. I didn't think he wanted me to sort of bother him, so I didn't tell him I was there, but then he saw me. I did, yes. Big Fatty Yeti Uncle John said something about how you were so old that you would have been on the earth when saber-toothed tigers were around. I did not. Yes, you did. You did, Yeti Uncle John. It'll be on the episode. When the episode that I was recording comes out, we've got you saying that. Well, it's probably true. Saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths. They were like the pets, weren't they, Big Fatty, when you were a boy? Was that Auntie Vera? I get them confused. That's not going to help your case either. Oh dear. I think we should go, Big Fatty, before Yeti Uncle John says anything else to offend you. But anyway, love to poodle, and I'll speak to you again soon. Hopefully going to be going out quite a bit next week, but we'll see. Anyway, okay, bye-bye for now. Bye-bye for now, Big Fatty. I'm sorry, it was only in jest. I didn't mean any of it. Well, only... I'll shut up. Please do, Yeti Uncle John, please do. Okay, bye for now, Big Fatty. Bye, Big Fatty. You all right, Paul? Yes. Yes. Taking a sit down, rest is all very well, but it's getting back up again. Oh dear, you sound like you're 100 years old. Well, no, only 99. Oh, well, nearly there then. Yes. I'll give you a piggyback if you like. Oh, a piggyback. No, I think that was just going to look ludicrous, and it'll also probably break your back. Oh, very strong, you know. Sure you are. But even so, I wouldn't expect it of you. Oh, well, just know that the office there. Thanks, Eddie, Uncle John. I think I'll manage okay. Hello listeners, it's me again. I'm out and about by myself today. Well, I was for our last trip, well, except for being followed by Yeti Uncle John. But today, it's Monday the 24th of January, which is actually Toby's birthday, but he's working. But I'm going to Surbiton to meet up with Callum, as we haven't met up since before Christmas. So we're actually going through Weybridge on the train now. Well, we'll actually be stopping here, but that's where I was on our last message. But Surbiton is about 4 more stops on. They've cut the number of trains that are running around this time of day. On the 10:40 train. There's usually one at 11:10, which is the one I would have got had it been running. But they're cutting services that obviously aren't used very much. So I'm going to get there too early, really. But I needed to do some shopping, and I don't want to do it after I've had lunch and had a couple of beers, or whatever I have. So onwards to Surbiton, shopping, and hopefully we'll have a little bit of a chat with Callum. See you in a second. Hello listeners, we're in the pub. What's the pub called, Callum? I forgot.
The Coronation Hall.
Coronation Hall. I've had 2 Guinness, that's why I can't remember. We've had a nice lunch, haven't we, Callum? We had mixed grill.
Yeah, large
mixed grill. Yeah. Don't get it.
Still hungry though, because we need pudding.
Yeah, well, you know. What are you having for your pudding?
Chocolate fudge cake and ice cream.
Hot chocolate brownie with ice cream. I nearly had apple crumble, but there's no custard. I don't mind apple crumble and ice cream, but I prefer it with custard. So I feel spurned, so I'm walking away from the apple crumble altogether. Going for chocolate brownie instead. How are you doing, Callum?
I'm alright, thank you. I'm intrigued by it says Weybridge Station there.
Is it? Oh yeah. The location on my phone says Weybridge Station, listeners. That's what he means. I'm not in Weybridge Station. Actually, I was in Weybridge Station when I recorded the first bit, when I was on the train in Weybridge Station. Well, that's weird. It's funny that when you start recording, it didn't used to do this, but it calls the file your location, and you get some really weird. You could just be passing by on a train and you get some weird street name that you wouldn't know from Adam. Have you been out and about, Callum? Have you been to any football?
I've been out on those sort of Saturdays, so I was at Alton Saturday just gone, which was nice.
I want to go to Alton to go on that steam train.
Yeah, they didn't have any steam trains on the platform actually, so you wouldn't really have known necessarily that it was one end of the Watercress line. In fact, that they may even reintroduce the real ale train, the Rat, because that's all been stopped since March of...
The normal Alton station and the steam train station are one and the same, as good as mostly, yeah? Is that right? Not a long walk from... You're there, aren't you? When you get off the main train.
When you get off at the South Western Railway. You don't have to go anywhere else.
Maybe I'll get to go this year. It's a steam train, listeners. It's very exciting.
It goes to Alresford.
Yeah, which isn't that exciting, but I just thought it would make a nice day trip for you listeners on the steam train. I can't remember if we've been on a steam train together. I don't think. I used to go on the steam train in Swanage when I used to go and have holidays down there.
Corfe Castle.
But I think I did it. I think I've got a video. I've only got videos from when I did my poetry videos, but I don't think I've been down that way since I have been doing the podcast. Well, I have to think slightly because it's been 6 years I've been doing the podcast, but nearly.
I'm going to Weymouth on Saturday, which will be going past.
Weymouth? That's a long way.
I know. It's 3 hours from Farnborough.
And changing at Basingstoke or?
Basingstoke or Winchester.
Yeah, I couldn't work out. Not the listeners really care about this, but Harry met his dad before Christmas in Winchester, and I couldn't work out why that was, other than it being a nice town with possibly a Christmas market. I didn't think it was that easy for either of them to get to. Harry's dad from Salisbury and Harry from London, because you'd have to change in Basingstoke, so you might as well just go to Basingstoke. Well, I thought maybe he was going by, but anyway, I couldn't work out what. It must have been to do with the scenicness of Winchester that it was the draw. I used to be able to go to Winchester from Salisbury on the bus because we did that back in the Sutton Park days, but whether that's still available, I don't know. I used to better go to Avebury, where the Stone Circle is, from Salisbury on a bus that wiggled for hours, but I don't think that's available anymore. I think it used to be the Swindon bus from Salisbury to Swindon. Not that anyone much ever goes to Swindon, but other than people who live there. I've been shopping in Marks and Spencer's before I met you. Getting things potentially for Toby's birthday, although he's not really in a birthday mood. But I've got cake anyway. The worst comes to worst, he doesn't have any. I get to eat all of it. So
you've got candles?
No. Dealey will breathe on it, set fire to it. I don't know. Dealey would dress as a candle. I don't know. I'll dress as a candle. But they're not really those sorts of cakes anyway. Kind of boring cakes.
What flavour is it?
Well, I got one which is like a cherry Madeira, and I got a kind of plain Madeira, which probably have to have something spread like butter or something spread on it to make it more exciting, and a lemon drizzle. I bought 3, but I don't know, with his tooth problems, don't know which one he'll want, but it doesn't hurt to have a bit of cake. We tend to have like lunchtime and then not much tea, so a bit of cake is almost tea, or a bit of bread and jam.
Crumpets? Not
today, thank you. I have to keep looking to see what jam's still available. If we're not careful, Toby will clean out the fridge of any jam not being eaten. And if I'm not careful, I come back from the kitchen to find that my seat has been stolen by Dealey. I think our dessert's coming.
7-5.
Yep.
Who's having the bologna?
Yes, me. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Joe.
Thanks. There's a spoon. I've got 2 ice cream scoops.
They're the same price as well.
It must be the brownie must be more expensive.
Well, I don't think it were. I think they're the same price.
No, but the
actual.
Yeah, like cost 1 piece of brownie is more expensive than 1 bit of chocolate cake. Not sure about that. Anyway, listeners, I got to eat our dessert. Callum will be back for more quizzes soon. I haven't done a quiz for a while. We need to find a better quiz site. And we did a quiz with Toby and Lisa the other day. And none of the questions you were getting under some of the headings were like, that's not that.
Might have been randomly generated.
So we'll see you later, listeners. And yes, I'm going to eat this now. Sorry you can't have any. Say goodbye, Callum.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Hi again, listeners. I'm actually just leaving Weybridge. I'm on the train again, heading back to the flat. Callum's actually just got off at Weybridge as well, because his journey back to his mum's isn't as well. There's a number of different ways of going. None of them are that great as far as having to wait between trains and things. So he thinks he's found the quickest route via Virginia Waters and Ascot. And anyway, should be home by 4:30. I should be home in about 5 minutes, less than that. But anyway, I'm not sure what our next destination is in this episode. So it might be a good time to have a second part clip or a quiz with Callum, maybe, if we've not had that already. I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll have something now. Then when we come back, we'll have gone somewhere else, hopefully. I'm just not sure what we're doing this week at all. The weather and Toby's work are not being very helpful. Anyway, more very soon. Back in a bit, back in a minute. Yes, here we go.
Back at Botwell Park. I was like, Mum, but it's better than Eustace. He wanted what we got. He was like silver and shiny, right? He went and attacked me. Two shadows. But there's only Lee here. It's the narrator. I've got my shadow in.
Hello.
Are you supposed to look like a rhino? But I don't.
Where's the horn?
I can't tell you about the horn. It's in my trousers.
Oh.
How's your birthday then?
Funny that, we were talking about that yesterday. Never mind. What? Yes?
How's your birthday?
I'm alright.
Yeah. Oh, it was round here that little Jay
mate,
got...
Look, all these people have come to my birthday party.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's, this is where little Jay got attacked, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I heard.
By Ben and
I never
Eustace.
actually saw it. I saw it. You know.
By Ben and Eustace or something?
Yes, that is correct. Yes, from what I heard.
I bought you a present. It's a lady troll. It's the new fashion.
It's not a lady troll. I'd recognise that anywhere.
It's Hampton.
Yes.
Sorry, I thought that was her. Oh. Stop exploiting me. Sorry. Would you like him anyway?
You stop exploiting me.
Why do you come here? There is nothing left here. What do you want?
None of your business. I could ask the same question of you. Why are you here, eh? Does your boss know you're here? It's nothing to do with you. I'm trying to help my friend.
Really? This statement may or may not be true. We shall soon find out. The neck brace that he has upon him, it is storing all information from within his brain. We shall soon learn the truth.
If you're gonna kill me, then kill me now.
I do not think that will be necessary.
Meanwhile, not so very far away.
Well, viewers, in many ways this visit hasn't been as bad as it's put a few boundaries on the... I've actually been able to draw out a bit of a map of, you know, what's here and what isn't here anymore. It would seem that none of the witches' bases, none of those things are here any longer. We know that for sure. There are recent footprints though of creatures, well, undesirable creatures. So they seem to be keeping pretty quiet about it, but there is still some evil presence here. What we're really worried about though is that, well, we're supposed to have met my brother about 2 hours ago, which he just hasn't shown up. It's pretty worrying really, because we don't quite know what's happened to him. If nothing else, at least we have been able to draw boundaries, redraw the map of Sutton Park. We can actually work out which bits are missing, which bits are here, which bits are in Surrey, if we can draw a map, it makes it somehow less daunting. But oi, mummy, you found him yet? No, I no see him, but I have seen footprints of his. I do not think they are yours. He should be here somewhere. There has been a fire here recently. We have been able to explore the park very much in the last hours or so. It would seem there are many shape changes still in this area. Many people who look like humans but are not. Yes. But where is your brother? I don't know. It worries me. It really does. Supposed to have met round here about, oh God, 2 hours ago. Hello. Sorry I'm late. I was kidnapped. Oh. Bloody hell. Bro, who was it? Who got you? You alright? Oh dear. Sit up. I'm alright. It was that bloke Yorick. I don't know why he did it. He captured me, asked me why I was here. Put some sort of neck brace around my neck. Asked me lots of questions. I wouldn't tell him. Then eventually let me go. I can't understand it. A neck brace. It's possible we learnt what we needed from the neck brace. Some of those devices, they can just sort of, whilst you're busy denying everything, they can just be busy working on your brain and get all the information out. You may have told them everything without realising it. At least you're alright. Yes. That is main thing. That you are all right, and we have made a map of the park as it is now. So we have done good work. I think it is dangerous to stay any longer. If Yorick is here, it is quite possible that there are other people massing. We should leave whilst it is safe. Yeah, right. Whatever you say. I was lucky to get away with my life. I thought I was done for. I just hope he hasn't learnt too much. If he has... Oh. Come on then, let's go.
We have done well.
Well, I hope God and God's mercies have done alright. I wish I was in the park with them. I wish I'd gone there. I wish we'd had a longer look last time. I wish that that business with Cromarty hadn't been going on at that time. I just hope they're alright. I did suggest to them that if things didn't turn out so well, that they didn't want to get back, or they could always pop down to Darren's house, because I mean I haven't been able to say hello, so I haven't been able to pop down. So I mean there'll always be room for them there. Any friend of mine is a friend of his, he said. So, even if they are non-human, I just hope they're all right. I really do. I wish I was in Sutton Park now. I just hope they're all right. I just hope nothing's happened. Just hope nothing has happened back in Sutton Park.
Hi listeners, it's me again. A few days have passed since the last bit of this episode, when we met Callum. I never really got to do any of the things we were hoping to do on Toby's week off because he never had the week off in the end. He ended up working, so we've not done a lot. So this episode is going to be expanded over a longer period of time. But the good news is, I think that means that we'll get more guests on the episode. Coming up next, we've got other Paul from school. I'm not sure what we'll be recording, but he's coming to stay in a hotel down the road as part of some work he's got to do roughly in this area. Well, not actually in this area at all, but anyway, he's staying in a hotel near me so he can see me after work. And anyway, that's very nice of him. So I'm hoping we'll get to speak to him, or at least get a bit of chitter chat. We'll see. This is the second time he's done this. He came down about October 2021. But I didn't get to record with him because we went to a noisy restaurant with kind of quite loud music. So I didn't know. It would have caused havoc with being told off for copyright infringement or something, possibly, who knows. But anyway, coming up now, hopefully some chat with Paul, and and then I'll speak to you again after that. Okay, right, coming up now.
Oh, right. Sorry, I'm slightly later than I said.
That's all right. Should we go straight away? Do we want to come in? Or?
No, I'm happy to go.
I just need to tell Toby I'm going because I can't close the door from outside.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Deals.
Hello, Deanie. Hello.
Go, Naz. Can you close the door after me?
Yes. Are you? Hello. Oh. What he's saying is, can I come too? Unfortunately, not on this occasion. Oh.
Yeah. A visitor.
I've said even more handsome than your photo. Normally it's the other way round.
Oh,
when the photo is not who they are in reality.
Oh. See you later, Toby.
Yes. Hello there.
Hello.
You okay?
Yeah, great, thanks.
Yeah.
No.
I've got a hello and everything.
Yes.
It must be.
See you later.
I feel very honoured.
See you later.
I've just parked. I just went there. I think it's probably okay to park now.
Yeah.
And anyway, I got it. Well, anyway, I thought, no, I'm going to do my own route. Do my own route. And
I finished with that.
oh yes, Jim, I forgot about that. Yes, what did you think?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. In fact,
It's quite camp. It's quite camp, but it's quite fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is along.
I watched it today because I suddenly realised that it had just been sort of on the top of my pile to watch.
Oh, good. Okay.
So it's very fresh in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think the person who plays Alexis has the hardest job. Basically, she is the star. But it tells you a lot about the story and the history on it. How it came to be. But also, I didn't understand at 13, or whatever it was, 12 or 13, why it ended when it did. to me, I was really enjoying it. I was thinking, this is great. And I had this, the evil twin crystal. And
I really like the evil twin crystal.
I thought it was great. It was great. And then, I know they didn't get the same ratings today as the Moldova. They just basically killed everyone. Yeah. But you can only do that once. You can't do that every season.
I don't think the Moldova thing is a bad thing either.
That's brilliant. Well, that was
I didn't see it at the time. I only saw it.
Oh, really?
I literally only watched Dynasty, like the very last episode, because I knew it was finishing, and I thought, oh, well, I'll watch it. And coming into it with not knowing any of the characters, the last episode was still really watchable, and you could because it was all people falling off things and getting buried underground. And whereas when Dallas finished, I thought, oh well, I'll do the same, and I watched the last episode of Dallas, and you couldn't understand it if you didn't know the characters. I mean, I guess when I say I watched the last episode of Dynasty, I watched the last episode of the series, and then when it came back for that reunion, I did watch that as well, because I guess I did watch the last. But I didn't think that was. I haven't rewatched that. I have got that on DVD now, but I haven't rewatched it. But I don't remember that being as good as that last episode. I didn't really care that they'd fallen off balconies and things like that. I was quite happy for.
That was just more of the story. I mean, I just thought it was. I was really enjoying it. I was really sad when it ended. I didn't know why it ended, and I expected it to carry on and to come back. And then I do vaguely remember the follow-up thing, and they said this is going to be the final episode, and and actually but I don't remember very much about it, so I think I probably learned more from the DVD.
I still couldn't work out. I presumed they knew it was going to be, or even though they left it on the cliffhangers, I sort of presumed that they knew. I'm not sure from watching this whether they did still hope that they were going to get renewed. That's why they left it on the cliffhangers. But I mean, I suppose because of things like Blake 7, where people got killed off, or it looked like it was the end. And I guess they could have continued Blake 7, but I think they knew that they weren't. So I wasn't really sure what was going on.
I liked the sort of the backstory, and then I remember when the Colbys started, and
I heard about the aliens, but
that was we talked about that in an English lesson.
I am halfway. I am into season 2 of the Colbys, and I'm about season 7 of Dynasty. And I had a break for a while, but I'll probably come back to it now, seeing as it'll trigger something in my head.
Well, the Colbys, I actually think, and I can get to it that way. This is really nice.
Yeah, it's like black bean sauce, beef and black bean sauce.
This would be a bit more substantial for me. I had this croissant and some cornflakes. Then lunchtime, I didn't really feel very hungry. And quite busy today. Lots of things happening in that office. It's quite frenetic. And because I was out all day yesterday, I had loads to catch up on. And everyone was in the office today, which means you get lots more queries and questions, and it's fine. But it's because I feel like really behind because not being in, not on top of what I'm supposed to be doing. I don't feel on top of it all. Anyway, yeah. So basically, is there a time limit?
There is the only time limit there is. If you don't do it within 6 months, you have to pay again. So
okay. So
I think mine runs out in April. So I think I'm about halfway through. I think I should probably forge on and get this finished. Because then, and there's a second course, which after the second course, you should be able to start applying for work. Okay. And then there's a third course which probably tops that up, and then there's other things you can do to branch out into other areas. But basically, I kind of need to be getting onto the second course by now, I think. So.
Okay. Well, if you're into it and you can sort of amend, Because I imagine it's quite intense. Is each one do like an hour or something? Or?
Well, it depends how long it takes you to. Because the exercise I did today, you had to sort of. You had a.
Oh, great, thank you. Right. Enjoy it. Thank you very much. Okay. I might sort this round, otherwise I'll be leaning over the whole thing. Yeah, by all means have that.
No, I was wondering if I could move. Yeah, you're.
I mean, do you find it interesting to do it, or is it a chore to do it?
Well, having proofread my own books, and then had the help with my second proofreading with my parents, yeah, it's not my favourite thing really, because I've done it. I've had to do it for my own stuff. But you know, it's something I can do from home.
Do you think by the summer then you might have completed it all?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what the reality of, if there's loads of work out there, or whether, there's a certain amount of people who get the work, get in there and grab all the best work because they've got the more experience. So I don't know how easy yet it will be. But then, of course, we'll see. One of those things that there's probably always work out there to a point.
I think I might struggle with it, only because I don't read that quickly. And I can imagine some of the deadlines are, can you do this by...
Yeah.
Can you turn this around in 24 hours?
No, I guess it depends on... They'll probably talk about that a bit in the later part of the course, as to what you should expect. What is reasonable?
Yeah.
So you don't get scammed or yourself. Sort of.
Yeah.
If you end up with a proper publisher, then they've probably got more structure.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Imagine if you got like, Waterstones or whatever. Actually, can you read these books that we're looking to publish? If you can actually read a story, I suppose you're reading it not for enjoyment. There's a different mindset, I guess.
Depends. My friend Andrew, he went to Canterbury.
Oh yeah.
I think he was there like the year before. He's a proofreader. Well, he probably... Proofreader might not be the right term because he's probably more advanced than that, because proofreader is the lower level of because there's proofreaders and there's other areas. But anyway, he does reference books and it's all quite dry, I think. And you don't get a copy of the book; you get a long printout.
So you submit your assignment and then someone goes and marks it?
There's not really been an assignment in that way. I do have a tutor, although I've never had cause to talk to her yet. A lot of it is exercises, like correct this sheet or whatever, and then you compare it with. So it's not exactly necessarily a right or wrong, but you sort of you see what they think would be the ideal. It's learning how to show the corrections that need to be made.
Yeah, because you're not making corrections, you're saying these things need to change. It's like everything, isn't it? You get into a routine. And then once you get this qualification, you can decide whether you want to continue doing it or not, further studying.
At least it's with the right people, anyway. It's
So you think once you've got this qualification, then I suppose then you test the market.
Yeah.
And then decide. Are you still thinking about moving, or?
To a certain extent, but I don't think we're quite ready for the mental torment of moving. And also whether we do things with the ultimately I want to be back there, but whether that's after I paid my mortgage off in a couple 2 or 3 years, or whether it's sooner.
Have you got? Is there much longer to go on it?
Yeah, it's about 2 or 3 years.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, I bought my place in 2000, so.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, 2025.
Okay.
And it's early in the year, it was about now in 2000.
Oh, okay. So you think you can pay that off and then sell it or something?
But I mean, it's whether we do major improvements or just minor improvements, or whether we do no improvements. But I think we'll have to do something. But.
Well, this film we're going to see is it's not a remake, it's a continuation of the same story, but presumably updated.
Yeah, it's sort of like...
I did read the review, and they said, but it's still got all the familiar elements, like people ringing you on a landline. And actually, have you watched all the other ones, like Scream 3, 4, 5, 6?
Yeah. Well, no, this is 5. Even though they don't call it 5.
Okay.
The last one came out about 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say it's quite a while.
But the first 3 came out almost back to back in the late 90s into the early noughties.
I mean, I think I watched the second one, maybe the third, maybe. I found them then they'd become very formulaic, and so. But I think because it's not come out for a long time, I thought, actually, that might be quite a fun film to see.
I do know one spoiler which I won't tell you, but.
Okay.
Let's just say I don't think it's as cosy. Usually you can get to the end of the film and all the regular characters. I think this one might be a bit different.
Okay. Well, I don't remember half the regular characters. Hey, can I get another tiger beer? Would you like another drink? Yeah, two of those, thank you. Yeah. I liked it because it didn't take itself too seriously, but it wasn't also scary. Actually, that haunting face.
There's also been...
It's iconic now.
On Netflix also had a... Scream TV series.
Really?
But that was a different story and a different cast. But Toby...
I don't know how you could maintain it, a whole series.
Sorry?
I don't know how you could maintain a whole series, 12 episodes.
They did, because it was all fresh and it was all... they only ran for 2 seasons, but I think that was intentional.
Okay. Well, Onyx wasn't. I couldn't interest in it at all. And when we were in Coventry, I said, "Oh, we're going to the cinema here. Would you be interested in this film?" No. I said, "Oh, have you seen any of them?" Yeah. You don't fancy it then? No. That was really okay. So when I saw your text, and I thought, oh, this is brilliant.
We had talked about.
We've been to the cinema.
We had talked about going to see it every night, but when we were having to get there by train, there were no showings before like 4 or 5 o'clock. And we didn't want to be coming back on rush hour trains or going in the evening. We wanted to go at 12 o'clock or something. Or
Well, I was going to ask, how do you feel about, because people are getting used to. I mean, it's not normal. It's not back to like normal. But how do you feel about going out and about? Or do you not want to? Do you not really?
Well, it's not bothered with that. It's more, as much as anything, it's like energy and how much I can manage. Also, how much I feel I should be seen to be going out when I haven't got a job, sort of thing.
Okay.
I want to go out every day, sort of thing, gallivanting around just because I can afford to at the moment.
Yeah.
And then in a few months' time, go, oh, sorry, I've got no money now.
Yeah.
So there's a certain amount of.
Yes.
But also this time of year, weather and energy, and I went out about 2 weeks ago. I went to Richmond Park.
Okay.
But I have to be careful because I can't go gallivanting like I used to into the centre of Richmond Park and then suddenly think, oh, I'm totally exhausted, I can't come back in. I've got to become like the Yeti of Richmond Park or something. So I've worked a route where I go down to Surbiton and get whatever the bus number is, I've forgotten now. And it takes you up through Kingston, past Norbiton Station, and then there's a bus stop which is right by one of the gates. So then I can base myself at that gate and I can wander off. As much as anything, on a nice day, I want to take photos or I want to record a bit of a podcast if it's not too breezy. Maybe have some lunch. And it'll be even nicer if the weather improves. But I have to be careful, or maybe to do a sort of an arch rather than a go, and then kind of go, oh, I need to get back. I've still got to turn around. So if I do a sort of arch or a walk that, at least with that sort of thing, you can kind of make the walk how you want. Whereas I've done walks near my house where it's like A to Z, like you start here and you finish there, and if you get to the middle and you feel tired, you've still got to either go back or you've got to go forward. Whereas if you're in Richmond Park, you can kind of go off and sit on a chair for a bit. And the other walk I've done is go to Weybridge, and there's a coffee shop at the station, and then there's a little bit of woods. So I can potter in the woods, but not again. I have this fold-out chair that I can. It's like a mushroom shape, but it folds up and it's like it looks like just a circular, like the top of that, say, but bigger. And, but it fits in my rucksack and it expands to and so if I need to sit and there's nowhere to sit.
So many things restaurant.
So I did a walk. Maybe late October from Weybridge to my flat along this set path I know. But the trouble was I got halfway down and then it was muddier than I thought it was going to be, and the path didn't allow for you to wander. And it was a bit of a struggle, but I still had to either go forward or go all the way back. So I kept on, and so I'd rather do a walk where I can kind of decide when I start and stop. And when I'm ready, I can go back to the bus stop and go home. And you can always pop into Marks & Spencer's or Waitrose in Surbiton on the way home.
You've got a backup plan.
For a treat. wasn't sure I was going to get to see it at the cinema. With one thing and another, and it would have been the first one I've never seen at the cinema. So thank you for taking it.
Yeah, have you been to that one before then?
No, I've never been.
Because you'd seen it in London or seen it in Woking. Is that your nearest cinema?
Well, I was going to go to, probably going to see it in Wimbledon.
Okay. That's a funny. Do you mean like there's like an Odeon or something?
There's an Odeon, there's a Curzon right next to it. I can't remember which one was showing it. But
actually, it must be Curzon. That must be the one I was thinking of. Oh, Picture House.
Well, the Curzon, I did have a membership for back in sort of 2018, 2019. And unless you went every week,
yeah,
you weren't really benefit. I used to try and leave work a bit early on the nights that I was going out with Callum, and see a film before he finished work. But even so, that wasn't every week. So I decided not to. Also, I saw lots of films I probably wouldn't have bothered with, just to kind of go.
Yeah.
And it was also the year when they were doing things like the Elton John movie, the Queen movie. Which were fine, but I began to see sort of. There were a couple about there were a couple of films that were very similar. I saw sort of patterns throughout the year of films that were very kind of similar, and I decided not to renew. Then, of course, the pandemic started, so it's kind of a good thing because I doubt that I'd have got a refund. Not many places gave refunds like that because they'd say, "Oh, well, you can see things online."
Sign up to our app. Do you actually watch? Because I was doing this, even though I'm not even watching it, I signed up for almost by accident for Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I watch Amazon Prime. I have Amazon Prime because historically I had Amazon Prime for postage, and then I found and I also have bought quite a few digital films which are housed on Amazon Prime. And I've watched a couple of series. And we also have Disney Plus at the moment. Oh. We got it for the Beatles documentary because we both like the Beatles.
Okay.
But then we found there were lots of other things on there which you wouldn't associate with Disney, like Walking Dead and American Horror Story and things.
Is American Horror Story on there? Is it?
The most recent seasons are, like the last two seasons.
Is that 1984?
That one and the one after that.
Oh right.
The one after that was really good actually. I didn't like the 1984 one very much. I thought it was a bit of a mess, but the most recent season they cut it in half and had two stories, so they didn't have to stretch it over 10 episodes or whatever.
It's too many. They
had a six-part story and a 4-part story, and they were both good. One was sort of vampire-y, and one was sort of Roswell aliens type thing. And then there's also been American Horror Stories, which is like short, like an anthology show, and that was quite good as well. We were only going to get it for a month, and then we found that actually it's quite good, so we're keeping it for longer. I'm watching a show called The Strain on it, which is sort of that's by that Guillermo del Toro that we saw in the adverts tonight, and that's sort of zombies, and that's quite good. So we're finding plenty of things to watch.
Okay. I didn't know about the American because it was on CBS.
Yeah.
And I got that with Sky.
It's confusing.
And that's the only one I've actually watched, and it was really good. But then.
Hi, listeners. Back at the house again. It's 11 o'clock, so Deals is waiting up for me. He told me off for going out, but he's being nice and quiet. Well, I think he is at the moment. He wasn't when I first arrived back, but we had. I'm not sure which bits of what I recorded would have come out or be worth hearing, but and I might even have saved some bits. There's a good chance that you can hear me talking more than you can hear Paul, and you already hear quite enough of me talking. Anyway, I wasn't able to explain as we went along. So we went for a nice Chinese meal at a town just down the road, which is really quite close, but not that easy to get to without a car. You have to go on two trains, but still. Then there's walking involved. No, it's not It's not somewhere I go very often, but they have a cinema. So we had a nice Chinese meal. I had beef in black bean sauce and some prawn dumplings and some ice cream and and 2 beers. And then we went to the cinema and we saw the new Scream film. And I'm a big Scream fan, as I've probably said before. And I did think there was a possibility I wasn't going to get to see the film at the cinema. It's a shame we couldn't have taken Toby along as well, but he has to go he has to go to bed early. So so he had to miss out, but we'll get the DVD, so he will see it eventually. But it was a good film. I really enjoyed it. I knew there was a big kill in it. Well, there were lots of killings, but there was a big kill of one of the legacy characters. I'm not saying any more. I knew it was coming, so in a way it worked in its favour because it worked in its favour, Deals, because I knew it was coming and I knew they weren't going to get out of it. So I cheated, but anyway. So yes, it was a good night. I don't get many nights out these days, so a Chinese meal and the cinema. It's the first time I've been to the cinema since I don't know. Did I go in? Oh no, we did go in early 2020, when we were in Bath. Toby and I went to see a horror film in Bath. But so that'll be the first time I've been for about 2 years. So, and it was good. Anyway, that's all I have to tell you now. There's more to come though. So yes, goodbye for now. Hey Big Fatty, it's me, Paul the Shy Yeti. I'm sorry, I'm at a railway station again. I'm just not on the train. I'm on the platform and there's nobody else here. There's a train going by behind me, but I have a few spare minutes and I thought I'd say hello. I've just got myself a coffee and I'm meeting a friend in about an hour's time and I have time to kill. I'm sorry. It's very important to me. Sorry, here comes the train. Yeah. No one's ever going to get on that train and it going that fast. You'd think they'd learn by now, wouldn't you? But I'm going to go and see my friend Harry, who I went to school with, who I've known for 35 years. Yeah. He comes from my hometown. Well, obviously he would do if we went to school together. But he's on my podcast, and I've always managed to rope him in on whatever projects I've done over the years. When I used to make my video series Sutton Park back in the 90s, when we were all young and beautiful, he would always be in the show. And Sutton Park was like a sort of very bizarre soap opera based on my life, but obviously very ridiculous as well. Harry would always try and sort of get himself written out of the series, but I'd find a way to bring him back. You know, as it was all improvised, he would, he'd improvise that he'd been killed off from the series, but I'd just bring him back as a clone or something, or a robot. I wonder where the ideas for where Big Fatty came from. Who knows? Anyway, so I'm going to go and meet Harry and have lunch. That'll be good. And then hopefully I'm going back to my parents later in the week. So hopefully I can send you a message from their house and it'll be quiet. I promise. Anyway, I won't stay much longer in case we get another train going past. But so I'm off to meet Harry now. So I'll speak to you again soon. Take care, Poodle. You're looking beautiful as ever. Yes, I really like that hat. That colour really matches your eyes. Yeah. Red looks good on you. Anyway, right, better go. All right, bye for now. Bye-bye. Hi, listeners. I'm about to meet Harry. You'll know that because you probably have just heard the message that I sent to Big Fatty. Yes. So I'm meeting Harry, and I've got my cup of coffee, and I need to go and pop into Marks and Spencer's actually before I see him. So I'm timing my movements very carefully. I'll drink my coffee, head to Marks and Spencer's. I need to pick up. What do I need to pick up? I need to pick up cake. Well, I don't need to pick up any of these things, but I know I don't have much money these days, but it's nice to go shopping sometimes. I'm probably going to get some cake, probably some Madeira cake or some cherry Madeira cake, or both. I need to get some sultanas for our porridge, maybe some gummy sweets, some golden syrup to go in the porridge, and I'm going to buy some bottles of wine for things that I'm planning this weekend. I'm hoping to see Milo at some point. Maybe I'll get to hear a bit more about how things are going on with him and Cromitty. Although I don't like to be nosy. I honestly don't. But I don't know. We'll see. We may hear Milo later or not. But Milo, I don't know. It's always when he's very small, he gets extra shy about being on the podcast, and I rarely see him when he's full-sized, as it were. But it's weird, isn't it, though, when you like friends get together, so you kind of know them equally, and you're kind of wondering, should I ask how things are going? But anyway, so yes, so I'm going to go and buy some wine, maybe some rosé wine. Maybe after a couple of glasses, Milo will tell me a bit more about what's going on. But anyway, I need to get this coffee drunk. I need to get down to the shops and then back to the pub by the time Harry gets this. I don't know why sorry, that train just went past. So yes, I need to. Another problem. But the railway station. How strange these trains keep turning up. I need to get my coffee drunk, get down to the supermarket, then get to the pub, which is the same pub that I recorded in with Callum just the other day. So it's all come full circle. But I've actually talked to Callum since I met him for lunch the other day. We had a Zoom call the other day and recorded a quiz, but I don't suppose there's room for that quiz in this episode. It'll probably appear in another episode. But yeah, I'll see Harry, and we'll have a little chat. And I need to get on and do all that. But I think I'm going to have mixed grill again. Yeah, actually, I'm going to ask Harry to take some photos of me for social media, because I'm fed up with close-up selfies. So anyway, right, lots of things to be doing, and come with me. Follow, listeners, follow. Hi, Harry.
Oh,
Happy New Year, although it's a bit late by the time this comes out.
Happy New Year in February.
Yes. We're in the same pub I was in with Callum a few weeks ago, but not the listeners can tell. But this episode is all about me pottering around and bumping into people that I know as well. It was going to be more of a holiday episode at one point, but then we didn't have a holiday in the end. But you are on holiday this week.
I am.
Are you? I remember you saying you were doing something later in the week. Are you actually going away somewhere?
So it's mostly staycation, which seems to have been the pattern really for the last 2 years, really. Yeah. But I've got a couple of days down in Brighton. I always like Brighton. Have a little wander along the seafront.
Yeah, I can't remember where you're off to. Do you have a hotel in Brighton that you've gone back to more than once? Because we used to have ones we went to, like when we used to go years ago.
Yes. We used to go to Catnaps, didn't we?
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah,
which was nice enough when we were younger, but you had a shared bathroom, I think, and
Was it Catnaps? Well, I don't know if it was when I was. I don't know when it. I don't know if it was when I was with you. One of the times I went, I had like a bottle of Lucozade, and a little bottle, and it fell out of my bag as I was going up the stairs, and it kind of exploded like the wall or something.
That sounds familiar.
Is that when you were there?
But it's just something that you do, isn't it? Really?
But it's just very embarrassing. I think I got away with them not realising. I think I wiped it off quickly enough for them.
It was quite good value, Catnaps,
yeah.
And you had they put the breakfast in as well, and I think it was gay O's, or at least the people that were serving us were really quite.
Yeah, I went there a few times at Valentine's as well with different boyfriends, not from the same year, obviously, but different. Yeah, it took
obviously the same month.
The same month, yeah.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think eventually that stopped. They weren't. I don't know. I have a feeling that they retired or something.
I think so. Yeah. So, but it's nice on them. No, I tend to go with different ones. So I'm at a different hotel this year. But I sort of working my way around the beachfront, I think.
Yeah. I think I feel like I haven't stayed in Brighton for a long time. I haven't been to Brighton for a long time, but
it's nice. You can go for a little walk along by the sea. You can go on the pier. It's gay friendly. There's plenty of pubs and clubs and
there's
places to go to.
Oh, what's that town that's sort of almost connected to Brighton, which is very popular? Hove. That's quite popular.
I've never made it to Hove.
I did once. I had a fateful date in Hove with somebody that I talked to on like in the early days of the internet, and I was talking to them a lot.
Oh right.
And I went down to see them, and I had a lovely time. And then when I tried to call them they didn't take my calls, and I didn't know why, and it was quite upsetting at the time. This was like 15 years ago or more, probably.
And can you remember their name?
Probably could if I really thought about it. Paul, I think it might have been Paul.
Yes, a shame.
But I later found out from somebody that they had a boyfriend, and that's why they didn't contact me. But that was the worst. I think that was the worst thing. That they couldn't have just been open and honest about that, because it made me feel like I'd done something wrong.
Oh dear, that's not nice.
But at least I did. I remember a year or so later being with somebody, maybe with our friend Steve and maybe with you, and being in a pub and seeing them there, and one of the people we were with said, "Oh yeah, I used to know him, and he's got a long-term boyfriend."
Gosh.
So which nothing wrong with open relationships, but just don't. Be honest. Just be honest with people, because I really liked him at the time. I was really kind of upset and didn't understand what I'd done wrong, and I hadn't done anything wrong.
No.
So it's very fortunate that I was in that place with friends who knew him and could put me straight about the whole situation. Because at least after that, it wasn't me then. Okay, good.
No, good.
It's funny how these things sometimes come around. The answers do turn up eventually,
very true.
Now you've been working on a theme, some music. I mean, you've been giving me lots of music anyway. We around the time that we're talking, it's just before Valentine's Day, and one of your new pieces is being used as and that the listeners would have heard, it's being used as sort of Bettina and August's like wedding march or like a wedding sort of theme. I don't know. You sent me 3 pieces early in the year.
Yeah, there was Grateful, there was Just Friends, and there was something else I can't remember. Yeah. Coming Home, I think.
Yeah, I don't think the title made me think. I just listening to the actual music, I thought, this kind of almost sounds quite romantic, and something you might have in that in like at a wedding. And it just seemed to suit it, so I've used that, and the listeners will have heard it. But I asked you around the same time, could you do me the next Shy Life podcast theme, being positive and hopeful that I will keep doing this show for a good long time. But I do have a new theme every 100 episodes, and I sort of wanted to give you plenty of time, so I said to you, this is the theme that will be for episode 600, having only just done episode 500.
Which will be 2023.
2023, yeah. And you came back super speedy, and in fact, as I was saying to you a minute ago before we started recording, had I known you were going to be that quick, I could have asked you perhaps in November or something, and we could have had it for this year, but it's fine. It'll be put aside, and I know it's ready to be used for 2023 episodes. And we're still at the point where I was very happy from hearing the first version. That this is kind of almost right, and I even put the sound montage as it stands at the moment with it to see how it fitted, and of course that might change over in the next 12 months.
It's all sorts
of and it's just tweaks now, and so it's great to be so far in advance. But
it's certainly a very different process, because with the music that I do, although a lot of it's sort of based around a particular melody and then fitting the words, there's often words that are sort of ready there. But with this sort of thing, there aren't any words at all. It's basically what you're trying to do is you've got a little bit of dramatic tension, and then you're going into sort of a melodic.
Well, I did send you one or two of the ones we've used in the last 2 or 3 years, and I don't know if I should say this. I messaged this to Jay the Horn Cub the other day, because we have these sorts of conversations, but the music I do is from Apple, something like Apple Music, and it's copyright-free samples, and anyone can use them. And I've even seen, and I've mentioned this before, I think, like watching Black Mirror, there was a disco scene, and I was like, oh, they've used Apple Music, because I could recognise some of the bits I use. It's not the same bit, because obviously most of my music is like 12 or so samples all mixed together and brought in and taken out and faded in, and anyway. So the other night I was watching a adult movie, and I suddenly noticed in the background, I was like, oh, that's the kind of main theme from one of my earliest podcast themes. So I messaged Jay and said, I've just heard some of the Shy Life podcast music on a rather naughty movie, but I guess if you're going to use samples, then that will happen.
Yeah,
I remember hearing the Grange Hill theme on a naughty movie once, because I don't think the Grange Hill theme was commissioned for Grange Hill. I think it was a
Blue Movie.
No, I don't think it was done for a Blue Movie, but I think it was stock music that I have heard like music from Prisoner Cell Block H on horror films and things, and the stuff that I think I've heard stuff from Doctor Who from the 60s on Prisoner Cell Block H, because it's just library music.
I really can't picture people making out to Grange Hill theme.
I know. This was a long time ago. But I know what you mean. Yes, it's not really sexy music, is it? But it is interesting when people use library music and you associate it with something, and then you watch something else which is a little bit sort of out of place, and you think, oh, wow, okay.
I think there's a cowboy film, like a modern cowboy film, which they mistakenly used the Channel 4 news theme music on. It sort of worked for part of it, but
Well, and also Quentin Tarantino often uses music in his films from 70s films that he likes. Like some of those Shadow films I like, and he repurposes them in his movies because they're really good. They're really good music, and he wants to kind of
good for them.
So these things do happen, but Grange Hill on a naughty movie is a bit much. But then it wasn't commissioned for Grange Hill. It was commissioned as a piece of library music, I guess. I don't know what the first thing that. It is very bizarre. Anyway, I promise not to put any of your music on any. Not that I'm going to be making any Blue movies. Although I guess Uncle John might be. I'm not sure. He's never got into that area yet. So there's always
which area? Oh right,
the area of making those films. Area. I mean, he has been working in photography recently, so it's only a step, one step towards possible. Anyway, don't give him those ideas. But But yeah, so yes, it's nice that we could use one of your pieces for a wedding theme.
Good, I'm glad you make it.
What I was going to say is your music, and what the listeners may not know is that a lot of the stuff, the pieces you pass me are the instrumentals, but they have words. We just haven't recorded the words. When you show me them on YouTube, they do have the words, and obviously I've sung some of them myself, but most of the pieces you give me have words. But obviously we don't. That's not how we hear them on the podcast.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know if you get the mood that's conveyed with the music, or if without the words you get completely different sort of mood.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because I'm not sure that any of those pieces you sent me were about a wedding or even about a romance. I think it was just something that in my head I thought, that would go well.
That sounds like it. Yeah.
That would kind of, out of the 3 pieces I've got, I wanted to debut them on certain episodes, and I didn't know which ones, and out of the 3 of them, one of them I thought, I can see how that would work quite well in that episode. But nothing to do with probably nothing to do with the actual lyrics in that case. But I've still got 2 more pieces to use. But I was very grateful first when you sent me more pieces, they don't just get one play. They usually, when it's your stuff, unlike my stuff, sometimes if I'm really happy with one of my compositions, for want of a better.
No, they are because you're choosing.
I'm choosing.
I'm choosing notes, but you're choosing samples,
and pushing them here and there.
So it's composition.
So sometimes if I really like one, I will play the whole thing, maybe at the end of the episode, or to break up scenes. But not always. But with yours, because it's being gifted to me, I feel like I should at least play it once as a piece, and then maybe it'll be used as interstitiary, is that right? Between scenes, music on another episodes. So,
no, I'm glad that it's being used, Paul, to be honest. It's nice. It's nice to use that.
I always make sure I credit you as well. Anyway, well, I hope you have a nice trip down to Brighton. And,
looking forward to it. Need the break.
Yes, I'm actually thinking of I might be going back to Kent in either May or June, to that place where we've recorded stuff.
Oh, right.
Because I did have a holiday booked there before the pandemic, and before I lost it.
Do I get an invite?
Well, if you're once I know a date, I can give it you, and if you're free to come down.
I'm committed to you now on this.
No, I mean, it'd probably be better to be, considering that I can be a bit wobbly. It'd probably be better to have somebody with me, as well as having good company. It's probably nicer to be there with somebody else.
Maybe just do a little bit of singing.
We can do a little bit of singing. We're going to see dates. I'll let you know.
Okay.
It would be good to have you there.
Cool.
So yes, so that'll be my first trip for a while. So I'm going to be seeing my mum in a few days' time. We're going to look into it. I'll let you know as soon as I know.
That'd be good.
Okay, well, thank you for talking.
Good to see you.
Listeners, we're coming near the end of the episode, but I think we might have one or 2 more little bits of chat, and yes, we'll do that before we say goodbye. All right. Let's play some music. Maybe something by Harry even. I think we ought to, really. Okay. Bye for now. Hi listeners, it's me, Paul the Shy Yeti. I'm back where we started the episode. I'm at Weybridge Station in the waiting room, waiting to have a coffee. Cromitty's with me, although he's getting the coffee. I've ordered myself a large gingerbread latte. I think last time I had a vanilla latte, but I think it looks like they change the ones on the board each time, so no sign of the vanilla latte this time, but gingerbread latte, yes! So I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I need to have a quick word with you. Do you remember I mentioned that we were hoping to see Milo, maybe towards the end of the week? Well, apparently we're not. Apparently, you know that Cromitty and Milo, that they had a date or something, a couple of dates. I put them in. I sort of put them. I'm sorry, I'm speaking quickly because I don't want them to come back when I'm talking. Yeah, they had a few dates or a couple of dates, and he says everything's fine, but the reason we're not going over to Milo's for dinner on Friday is something to do about a gravy leakage on his street, and they've had to turn the water off. I don't understand. I mean, I know there's a big pie factory around the corner from where Milo lives, but anyway, apparently it could be affected for a few days. I said we could just go for a meal at a restaurant, but apparently no, that's not happening. So I'm just going to head back to Salisbury, and we're going to have a chat with Nick before we finish this episode. This seems to happen quite a lot, actually, where we finish episodes with Nick, but why not? It's good. This episode has to end at some point. But anyway, I'm going to try and ask Cromitty about how his date went, if he'll tell me anything. We're only here for about an hour, like we were the last time. We're just going to have a little wander in the woods. That's all we need to do. But I will see if I can get him to give away a little secret. But this whole gravy leakage thing in the anyway, very odd. I hope everything's okay. Yeah, I mean, Milo's my good friend and Cromitty's my good friend, so I want everything to be going okay. I want it to be going well. I'm sure it is. I just tend to over worry about these things. Oh, I can see him coming. Here we are, Paul. Oh, thank you. Did you get the gingerbread one? Oh, I most certainly did. Yes. Well, I'm glad you could come with me today. I wasn't actually planning on going for a walk today, but I was getting a bit stir-crazy editing episodes, and I did a lot of my proofreading course this morning, and I really need to get out for some fresh air. Oh, I don't blame you, Paul. It's very dry, proofreading. Oh, isn't it just? Yeah. I don't mind sort of spotting out the mistakes. That's quite fun. It's all the marking up that is the slow bit. But you'll get faster, Paul, the more you know about it. Yeah. I think you're right. But what coffee did you have? Oh, I had a hot chocolate. Oh, I thought I could smell chocolate, yes. Good on you, good choice. Oh, yes, I do like a hot chocolate. So do I, actually. You do know we've got a jar of hot chocolate in the house, in the flat now. Toby got it. It's very good, it's nice. Oh, I must try it, I did not know. Yeah. So we're going to go have a wander in the woods in a minute when we've had our coffee, right? Well, hot chocolate. Yes, Paul, that's what we'll do. Good. I want to take some photos and, haven't been able to get to Richmond this week because of seeing Harry yesterday, and then I think I've got a recording session with Martin Holmes tomorrow, but you don't need to know about that, listeners. We're just going to be trying to finish off our 1950s episode we started. Oh, I heard that went badly. Yeah, I tried to record it when I was at my parents' and we lost internet in the middle of recording it, but hopefully better luck this time. I hope so, yes. Anyway, listeners, we're just going to drink our drinks and then we'll speak to you again in a minute. Yes, as I was saying, I couldn't get to Richmond, so Weybridge is a good second choice, and it's much closer, 5 minutes away. Oh, yes, Paul, you could have walked there. I have walked there many times, but I don't think I want to do that today. No, Paul, I don't blame you. All right, listeners, back in a moment. Hi, listeners. It's me again. Get on very well in the woods because it's quite muddy. The trees are quite kind of close together. I mean, that's what woods are, I guess. But it just meant that even though we've not had rain for a few days, the paths were very muddy. It was very difficult to talk to Cromitty and walk along the paths, in a way where I'm sort of recording him as well. So I'm just waiting here. He goes and sees when the next train back is. We haven't been here long, but I did say we weren't going to be. I did try and ask him a bit about how things are going, but he pretended to be distracted by a squirrel. So no actual answer. Oh, I can see him now. He's waving. It's time to come down to where he is. And okay. I might get to chat to him again in a minute. Oh, there you are, Paul. I thought you'd got lost. I don't think I'd have got lost, Cromitty. I was only across the road. But, I just wanted to rush ahead. We should have taken down some train times before we came. But I would have done it on my phone, but I don't seem to get good reception around here. I know. Shall we potter on down to the platform? I think so, yes. It's a shame about not being able to go for dinner at Milo's. Oh yes, that gravy emergency. It's caused all sorts of trouble. I hope you'll see him soon, though, because you two seem to be getting on well. Yes, Paul. Yes, we are. Yes. Now, come on, let's go. All right. Sorry. Yes. We've got plenty of time. You go at your speed and I'll go at mine. All right, Paul. Oh, I got something out of him. Wasn't very much. Well, actually, it was nothing, was it? Oh, dear. I just hope that things are all right between them. Maybe I should have a word with Milo. Ask him about the gravy emergency. I don't know. It's all too ridiculous. Come on, let's go. We'll get shouted at again. Come on. Just wonder if we get the lift down. No, that's fine, Paul. What about these stairs? A bit easy to trip on, I think. Yes, here it comes. So where are you off to after today? Back to Salisbury. Well, not tomorrow, but very soon. Oh, well, that'll be good. Hope so, yeah.
Sutton Park. The real Sutton Park. Totally different place than it was when I used to be up there in Birmingham for university. Kind of decided to follow me, of course. wonder when I shall go back. I wonder what will occur in the next 2 years. Will the park follow me wherever I go? I mean, this job in Camberley I've got is only a year till next summer. Then what? Will I even be here? Will I even be alive next summer? Things are brewing up. Bigger and bigger things. This new era, this new history of Sutton Park. This is authentic, as dangerous as ever it was in Birmingham. I just can't seem to get away from Sutton Park, can I?
And so they returned to safety. They do not believe. They do not realize quite how much information I learned from the kidnapping. I know enough now.
Once the information is processed, you shall know everything. All the secrets. You have done really very well.
Oh yes, I have done very well. And it shall be their downfall.
Isn't it time that we try to process the information so then you can return back to Surrey and give the information to your boss? We may learn why exactly they came to the park.
We may learn. We may learn a great deal. Come, let us go whilst there is time, whilst they are relaxing.
Meanwhile, back in Camberley. Hi. Well, there's no sign of Godgos from Ramesses. Point there afraid at the moment. I don't think. No sign then. And I'm waiting for a phone call from my Canadian pen pal. She rang last night and she says to come to London. She's getting a place from Ireland about now. It's Anna for her. So I hope to go and meet later on. It's a matter of whether we meet or not. I mean, this is nothing. I mean, this is I've got the day off work and thing. I mean, honestly, it's nice to have a break away from problems and things, but. I'm hoping she's going to ring, but it's only just past 9 o'clock. She was only getting to the airport about 8:30. Of course, of all things, there's a train strike today. Not a train, underground strike. Pain in the neck. I'll see in a minute. Little Jay's around here somewhere. Oh, goodness knows what he's doing. We had a party here. And balloons came, lots of balloon men.
Wow, it's got its all rain coming down, but now it's not as bad. This is Mark hopefully go and get and see the Mrs. Anna from Canada. Yeah. Oh. There's a party in this house, and there's probably a party up in Birmingham as well, because the Ramesses can go there, but we had one here and it's all noisy. I'm going to go and see Miss Troublish this weekend, asking about that poison water that did the thing to Bardo. Probably going to get paid as well, like that bit.
Little Jay's got grand ideas about exploring the house if I go to London. Ideally I'd like a nice day in Camberley, have a look around, but we've got to go back to Salisbury this weekend. So, anyway, yes, I'll see you in a minute or two. Don't explore too far, Jay. What's the point? You won't listen.
How hard we get that? We can do this drawing, right? I don't know what I'm going to do, right? Look, I found something that... It's got a key, right? going to find a key and get it going. And they're going to explore down the cellar, right? Yeah. That's now Paul gone. It's going to be quiet. Oh, it's not a tower. That's how I never known down here. Oh. Well, I thought it might be a sour while there was like sort of beans. There's nothing here at all. Oh. Widow. Nothing in here at all. Nothing in here at all whatsoever things. Oh.
Hi Nick, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you. Yes, yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, actually, I've had problems with my legs since I last saw you. Listeners, we Nick and I saw each other at the weekend, and we did some recording, which we'll tell you about later on. But I didn't put this bit on my list of things I wanted to record, and I really wanted to record this because at time of speaking, I'm editing the other end of this episode, and this is to go at the end.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go out with a bang, not a whimper. So I needed to speak to Nick before we finished. What I thought we could do as we're here is have a little chat about another magazine, another edition of Look In. Do you remember when we did the live show for 548 last summer?
That's right, yeah.
We did some looking in that episode, and for the life of me, I can't remember which editions. But I'm ones I've pulled out here, ones I can't. I just don't think we did because of the covers. I don't recognise them. I bought a whole batch of 1978 editions from eBay around that time, and so the one I've picked out it's actually almost from the same sort of time of year that we're in now. It's from the 25th of February 1978, and it's number 9 from 1978. And on the front cover is the man from Atlantis, and there's a picture strip, and it says Pat Duffy feature and big colour pin-up. Whether that will still be in there.
Yes, I mean, so from summer 75 to New Year 80, I bought them all, but 78 would have been certainly within my ear, and I do remember this cover. I never used to watch The Man from Atlantis not because I wasn't interested, because I was always interested in that kind of genre, but I think that, I mean, the first, I remember when it first started in 77, it clashed with Doctor Who, so that was a no-brainer. But yeah, I'm just, and of course, in those days, I think although Dallas started the same year, I wasn't aware of Patrick Duffy beforehand. I didn't quite know what sort of, whether it was humorous or, but yeah, I do remember that. And then, of course, as usual, lovely artwork on the front with, and I understand it had a very over-the-top villain played by the guy Victor Buono, who played King Tut in Batman.
Who
in the 60s.
There's a guy. Actually, now you say it. There's a lady, a scientist-looking lady. I can only tell that because she's wearing a white coat, and like a sailor guy with a big white beard. That might be Victor.
Yes, that's Victor Buono. Yes, I mean, I don't. I suppose I must have seen him vaguely, but I didn't really. I remember him more as King Tut, but I get the feeling he was a wonderfully sort of over the top villain, and I think I don't know how regularly.
He was in the Wild Wild West a couple of times as well.
Yes, he died very young, actually. I think he died in 1982, and he wasn't very old. But no, and as I say, I can actually see if I can remember some of the picture strips. The $6 Million Man, I believe, was because I remember these strip stories better than I do the TV. He was coming to the end of his battle with the great Mandini, who was a mad hypnotist.
Yeah.
In fact, he came across 2 mad hypnotists in his time. One when I first started, and one the great Mandini, who was a magician and kind of huge ego. And he and any spoilers for anywhere, but yeah, that I think that story came to an end. That
I'll just flick through it and in order. So on the first page, we've got adverts, stamp collections, ABBA fan club, a clapperboard quiz book. Then we've got that old Benny Hill page where he's always he's playing Cousin Dick this time.
Yeah.
And then we're on to Stewpot's news desk, album news, Dolly Parton album, John Denver album. Funny, really, you wouldn't really think that the people who are reading this magazine, would they care for Dolly Parton or John Denver? I wouldn't really.
I mean, I think to be honest, you have to remember that back in '78 and indeed in the '80s, the charts were hugely more diverse than they are now. And suddenly you had a comedy, well, not like a quirky one like the Smurfs. You had, especially with I forget their names, but Matchstick Cats and Dogs, which is a nostalgic, educational, very northern sort of thing. And then you've got and you have Boney M with the Afro-Caribbean music, which was religious. Who would have thought a religious hit would have got to number one in 1978? So, yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, and Dolly was still chart capable in those days.
Oh,
yeah.
So just I suppose more so then than ever. I sort of imagine different age groups being interested in music and buying songs, whereas now there's not much for you unless you're young, whereas then you could get Queen, who might have a wide appeal. You could get ABBA, who might have a wide appeal. Then you might get Donny Osmond, that only had a teenage girl appeal, but so it was more diverse.
Absolutely, there was something for everyone.
Yeah. I was thinking John Denver and Dolly Parton aren't necessarily the first two. I would have thought there would have been other things in the charts which would have appealed to younger audience. Yeah. But maybe there were 8-year-old John Denver fans.
Yeah, 78. I mean, as I say, it's amazing diversity. You had, you covered art, northern, street art with Matchstick Men. As I say, religion with Boney M. And at the end of the other end of the scale, at the end of the year, when you had Rod Stewart with the very sexual Do You Think I'm Sexy, which is like the woman's first sexual experience. So it's got something for everyone. It's a brilliant time to live.
There's also a picture here. This is also the letters page. Muppet doubles. Someone suggesting that Dr. Teeth from the Muppets is a spitting image of Donny Osmond.
Yeah, they were always trying to compare. Yeah. They were always trying to compare people to Muppets in those days. The Muppets were the coolest thing in entertainment. These days, when you said somebody's a Muppet, then I think they'd take great offence to it, because it seems to somewhere along the line it sort of distilled into a derogatory term, which is
sure that's
a bit strange.
Well, I'm not sure. When I hear someone say that, I think of that as being like a separate use of the word Muppet, nothing to do with Muppets, because Muppets are only good things. So I can't. I can. Yeah. It must be maybe the word Muppet as somebody being a bit of a, I don't know, hot mess. Well, that's an expression in itself. But a Muppet being somebody sort of was used before the Muppets came along. So maybe I don't know.
I know. Words have moved around so much over the years. I mean, I had a long conversation with my boss, who's 16 years my junior, about the word lush. And I said, and they're sort of saying it's cool and everything. I've in my time I've heard it as boring, as alcoholic, as rich vegetation. I was sort of reeling off all these kind of different definitions to this boss of mine.
We've also got an advert here for the new season of How. Now, I'm not sure how much How, for those who don't know, was a show that was, I guess, along the lines of a sort of a mixture of Blue Peter and you might know better. You might describe better than I can. So
well, it was a little bit like a sort of bite size. Blue Peter in lots of little bite size. In that it was educational, but instead of sort of saying, and we've got the inventory in the studio these days. It was almost encyclopedic in the way it was approached, because you would sort of say, people are. It's the sort of thing that people would ask. But how do the large inventory or whatever do such and such and such? And they didn't really. They were sat at a table. And they, apart from a few props, they didn't really move all that much. And
well, the lineup in '78 was Jack Hargreaves, Fred Dinage, Marion Davies, and John Miller. I don't know if that.
I think pretty well. That's the lineup I remember best. There was always a sage in these programs. That's Life, which was the magazine program for the complaints and things like that, and run by Esther Ransom, they had a quirky bit and a serious bit, and they always had a sage, an older person who had pearls of wisdom. In the case of Cyril Fletcher, that's Life's sage, it was wit, or whatever he turned you on with that particular wit. And in How, it was Jack Hargreaves, who had a series Out of Town all to himself. And Hargreaves was more gentle and grandfatherly and educational. There wasn't a lot of laughs with Jack. I could be misremembering it, but yeah, he was very much the wise man of the bunch.
So from the looks of the Pen Pal page, it ranges from about, people are asking for pen pals from about the age of 9 to 15. So I guess that's sort of the reach. There's Sally here from Portsmouth. She's 11. She likes animals, TV, shawaddy-waddy, writing. Just the way the next sentence is phrased makes me, I don't know if I'm reading it wrongly, but dislikes punks, Osmonds, or anything sentimental. Is she suggesting that punks are sentimental? I don't know. I think that's.
I was going to say, the punks are about as far as sentimental as you can get. So
she wants a girl pen pal, preferably British or American. I guess if you're American and living in the UK, I don't think you get a copy of Lucky in America. But
I think also with punks were. It wasn't just the music back then. It was the look was still very much in, in fact, around that time in early '78, my sister toured with. I think it was The Show Must Go On or Dr. Faust, Stage 65, which is our local Amdrams, and in actual fact, their bus was attacked. This must have been quite frightening, actually. The bus was attacked by some punk rockets. So I think the punk look. That maybe she wasn't actually referring to punk rockers per se, but just the sort of punks.
Somebody here, Pauline from Liverpool. She likes Dave Bowie. She's obviously very pally.
Dave
Bowie. She likes punk. She likes heavy rock. She's 15. She wants a boy pen pal. She's looking for a boyfriend. This one.
She is.
She
Good
must,
on her.
But they must like Dave Bowie though.
Dave.
She's very.
Dave.
She's very.
Well, I think Dave. Like one of my sister's best friends, who she used to go drinking with. Her. I think. She always no Tone. He was talking of Tone, Dave.
There's no harm in calling someone Dave. No harm in calling someone Dave, but I would never have thought of calling David Bowie Dave. But he was definitely a David. Was David Bowie?
Yes. I've never heard him called David.
Maybe she was paying by the letter and she's very cheap, bit of a cheapskate in that case. The next page is football, so we'll skip that. The next page after that is
apologies to football fan, but
yeah. I think you were right actually. Yes, you mentioned we're on a nice colour strip of the $6 Million Man, a terrifying duel for Stephen Mandini.
Yes. He was a very memorable. They had some cracking baddies in those picture strips. The other one was.
Was he the maker of the male bikini? I don't know. Mandini. I don't know.
Mankini, yeah. The great Mankini, yes. That was a sequel. But no, he. I think also because of because I was doing my series, The Magnet Editor, at the time. It was in its second season, possibly third, and I was very much inspired by the over-the-top villains on especially $6 Million Man. And so, yes, I think one of the villains around that time was called Maslini, and I'm sure I based that on Mandini.
I think
so I think
I think it's the last episode of this because
it is.
It says Steve wrenches the chains apart, smashes open the lid. No
Yes.
pulse, no pulse. He's dead. He probably knew he
I
wouldn't
remember
survive, but his vanity wouldn't let him admit it.
I remember that. It's very disconcerting to see such an omnipotent baddie actually dead, and they do show him dead. I remember that. But then, we generally speaking, you had a tougher audience back then. But to be honest, I'm surprised, because I was quite a sensitive little flower, and I'm quite surprised that I wasn't more upset by some of because I read a thing recently about Look-In where they were talking about because they're doing a Look-In special soon in a book with all the artwork that I think it was Angus Allen who did the stories or the artwork. I think he did the stories.
Martin Astbury, it seems to be
artist.
Martin
Astbury. Yes, he was incredibly prolific, very distinctive and dramatic. I loved Martin Astbury's stuff. But they were saying, in terms of the story, Angus Allen was saying by the 80s, when they did Robin of Sherwood, they weren't allowed to do violence. And of course, it's quite, they didn't have such qualms in my day. So it's interesting that they had a considerably watered down, tone to them back in the 80s when long after I'd actually gone.
It says a thrilling new adventure starts next week.
I'm just trying to think what that be. I think he goes. There's one with wrestlers. I don't know if there's.
Rings a bell.
Is there one? Because later on he meets. Later on in the summer, he has a second adventure with the toy maker. Not like the Doctor Who's toy maker, but there's a sort of hunchback toy maker who's
that rings a bell.
He was another great villain. He got an enormously long story in 1976, and he came back for another rematch in 1978. But that was later.
The next page we have a word search. We have a recipe for meatballs in sauce.
That bunny trying to brain himself with that on the cookery court. They always had that kind of a bunny.
Oh yeah,
the drawing of a bunny trying to brain himself with a spoon.
Although I'd have given it. I'm not sure what if I saw it now. Well, I'm looking at it now. Whether it's a bunny or a beaver, I don't think I can tell the difference. It's not very.
I think it's supposed to be a rabbit.
A rabbit.
Yeah, yeah, I mean it's a strange. It's a rather strange rabbit, but yes.
Next page is Sesame Street alarm clock, where it looks like there was a thing to cut out. Unfortunately, that means that the next strip, which is an ABBA strip, is not there. Is incomplete because they've cut something out from the other side. But it's a sort of history of. Well,
I wonder what the Sesame Street alarm clock was like. Was it the count? You set the alarm for it, and you've got the count. One,
it's only in bed. It's only in bed, but usually.
Oh right! Oh, they missed a trick there.
But whether there were other ones, so we'll skip past the butchered ABBA one, and then we've got Patrick's swimming success, an article about. I don't know whether there's a page missing here as well, because I guess there was a pull-out. I guess there was that meant to be a pull-out, because you've got an article about Man from Atlantis. Then you've got half a strip of the Man from Atlantis, but I can't see the beginning of it. So maybe that was attached. Maybe half of it was in colour, attached to a poster or something. Oh, then we've got the Tomorrow People. Starting today, New Look Adventures with the Tomorrow People.
Was that? No, that's not the gorilla. That was the previous year. They just polished off a. I think they just polished off a Trig Assassin on the previous one. That's the one I remember. There's a Christmas Story previously.
There's only 3 of them, and they're in space. And there's a robot man spacecraft.
Oh no!
There's a robot man spacecraft
with those funny little tin heads.
Yes, and it looks like it's the last episode because it's. Well, no, I don't know if it is because it says more. It just says more. I think it's next week.
Yeah, I think they're started in. I think that's a fairly new story. I'm not quite sure whether they started that day, but there was a Christmas special which ended in January with a sort of killer in it. I think that robot one was the last story they did on the strips when that finished.
It might still have another part, but it's John, Mike, and Elizabeth are the only characters that are involved.
Yeah, I think because it was just before. It's very much based on the Series 5 lineup, so Sue Tai hadn't actually been debuted on telly yet. So
then we've got the Worlds of Jerry Anderson. We've got a quiz which has got a picture of the professionals as part of it, which is we watched an episode of that.
Yes, it would have been on Series 1. Series 1 at that point, it was still in its first run at that stage. And going back to Jerry Anderson, that too was an inspiration for the early sort of Magnet Editor stuff. They had some good robots and hardware and things like that, which as a 9-year-old I borrowed and cribbed and adapted and goodness knows what.
Someone's written in about Space 1999 asking about the episode Brian the Brain. Dan, was there a question about the Protectors?
Yeah, it's quite nice he had that because his shows were still showing, so it's nice that they had that sort of access to him. Really, so when he stopped, I didn't really stop to think about it at the time, but you think, oh, there's Jerry Anderson just talking about this stuff, and now when you come to think back, and you think, blimey, it was Jerry Anderson talking about his stuff. And because I suppose he's gone now, because that becomes more of a novelty. But it was quite nice.
Then we've got a colour strip of the Bionic Woman. It looks like she's been in a plane crash. There's some girl with her called Lois, and they're trapped on an island.
Oh, that little, yeah, that's right. The little girl. She, if I remember rightly, little Lois discovered a part of a satellite. That she brought along to show and share in because Jamie was a teacher.
Yeah.
And as her day job, and it's nice that the strip picks up that it's sometimes troubled kids are involved in that she teaches are involved in that, and it's particularly nice for me because the idea of not only a sympathetic teacher but an attractive teacher was something of a novelty for me because I didn't like school and I didn't like teachers. But no, Lois, there's a cliffhanger ending to one of the. Her first episode where she falls into that great 70s cliche quicksand. Quicksand was very much a shorthand in the 70s for danger. As that book Scar for Life says, it was a very 70s thing. Nobody really writes about quicksand anymore.
The next page is a colour pin-up of Eddie Kidd, who was Britain's answer to Evel Knievel.
Ali knows Eddie Kidd from Facebook, and that he's met her a few times. Some of the actors do. He did some stunts for Doctor Who as well in the 80s, and he actually his career came to an end when he had a really nasty crash, and so he's sort of, I don't think he's paraplegic, but he's very limited in what he can do now. But he's alive and well and doing what he can.
He was only 18 in 78.
Yeah.
Then the next strip is Doctor on the Go, which was a sitcom, a black and white strip, 2 pages. Looks like there's some shakes, and then we're almost at the end. There's just the all the sort of TV listings, and you can sort of compare what was on in different regions and what was being shown, and on the back page is the Bonnie Tyler colour pin-up. So that's that edition of Look-In.
Well, listeners, that's all we've got time for. I hope you enjoyed this episode. We got out and about a bit, as I promised. And, not our most energetic episode, but, made a change, I think. Well, we've got plenty of other episodes in the can, and we're busy recording new ones all the time. So I'm in discussion with a number of returning guests and one or two new ones as well. So I usually put those ones out pretty quickly once I record them, so you may not have to wait too long. But anyway, you take care, and we'll be back again soon. And I'll say goodbye for now. All right, bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
So yes, Nick. As we were saying earlier, we did actually meet the other day, and we did do some recording. Yeah. We didn't do recording for this episode because I forgot to put it in the list of things to do. But I guess we can't say too much. But the main episode we did was sort of, I don't know, Son of Book Club type episode.
Son of Book Club. It was, yeah. I mean, I think generally, I think if I remember rightly, the previous book club one, we were talking about our favourite books and books we had and everything, whereas this one was a little bit more on site because we were kind of looking down at what I had on a shelf, and we were picking out select titles to have a look at and to discuss.
Yeah, we covered quite a lot in like an hour episode, so and all sorts of subjects, because I was able to we talked about TV books about TV, we talked by biographies, sort of adaptions of TV shows, quite a lot. I think covered a lot more than we would do in a normal book club episode. Yeah,
and also what I've got, of course, is not just my own choice, but the bookshelf has a compilation of not only my stuff, but Ali's stuff, the stuff that's very much Ali's choice, and also stuff I sort of brought back from my mum, obviously inherited from my mum. So there's some stuff of hers as well. So it's a real mixed bag.
Yeah, so it should make for a good episode. I expect I'll release it in the next couple of months. So we do still have one or two older episodes to put out, but just sort of the ones we recorded like a year or so ago, which came out like the episode we did about the tape zine. Even though we recorded that quite a long time ago, it still seemed to have a good effect when it came out, because there was nothing really about it that it mattered when it was recorded. It was all about the past. In fact, of course, we did our sequel episode because Toppy had so many questions after it. So
that was most gratifying, actually, and it was lovely to work with Toppy again, because it's been a wee while, and absolute delight.
Goodbye, 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 goodbye.
This show is part of the Pride 48 network. Find more shows over at pride48.com.
Oh dear, what's going on now? Oh, it's the Shy Life Podcast. Let's go.
I have a voice. I have a voice.
You have a voice.
You have a voice. We have a voice.
We have a voice.
Unique voices in podcasting.
UnivazPods.net.
When I was over at your house at the weekend, we had a bit of a TV watching night. we started with the last episode of season 3 of Blake 7 Terminal, didn't we? Because we
actually started. We started with Curse of Peladon.
Oh, yes.
Ali and I are currently rewatching the 9th season of Doctor Who, which is with John Pertwee, which I think is probably my favourite of his. And Curse of Peladon, the second story, we're watching on the 50th anniversary of when it went out. So we're kind of doing an episode a week.
Yes,
which
we
is rather
watched
fun.
that sort of episode in isolation. Then we watched Terminal, which was supposed to be the last episode of Blake 7 until they decided very short notice they were going to do a 4th season. I don't think I'd have been that happy if it had ended at that point, to be honest, because it was all a bit of a sort of, let's see if we can get off this place. And okay.
I by contrast, I think I quite enjoyed Series 4, but it did seem very tagged on, and all the things that made the show work conveniently came back. So I assumed that Terminal was it. In fact, I'm not quite sure how much of the TV presenters saying it will be back in the because it said that apparently when Terminal went out, they said they'll be back in the autumn, and that was the producer had heard of it, so he had gone on. I think they should have said, actually, you've made a boo-boo, we've all moved on, sort of just. But no, I certainly think it should have been the end of Servalan, and perhaps if they'd done 4, maybe they could have might perhaps not have tried to copy the previous season so much, because they had the computer with a distinctive voice and teleport, and I don't know, but I still find 4 enjoyable, but I think, but anyway, Terminal's a very strong episode.
Maybe it could have ended and then come back in some other way a few years down the line or something, or a sequel series, but it just didn't feel like the character stories were finished, or I suppose knowing that they get bumped off in season 4, at least you know that.
On the other hand, it rounded off Blake, so I think it was always meant to be the last episode. It's sort of you were looking for Blake, he's actually dead. It was all for nothing, which I think probably was. I don't know. I like the very very last episode. So. I'm in a quandary over that. I think they were both very, very good episodes, the Terminal and also Blake.
And then we watched a 2-part Batman story.
Yes, we did.
With Bookworm.
Yes, this is one because my first encounter with Batman, with the series anyway, it was in 1976 when they started repeating the 60s show, and I'd never seen anything like it before in my life. I liked the over-the-topness. I liked the bigger than. I've always liked villains and really colourful baddies. You had the 2-part stories, and after that, you had a new villain each week, and that appealed to me greatly. But I remember that story. I remember thinking when I was a bit amazed how old Roddy McDowall was, because he looks about 12 as the Bookworm.
It's funny because I mean when we were watching it, quite a few of these characters obviously quite cemented themselves in your memory, but then when we looked, we discovered they only had done 1 story. And it felt like. I
mean, granted, that's the only Bookworm story I remember, but I remember very clearly the cliffhanger, and I remember Bookworm's temper tantrums. He could be very quiet. I don't need to go along here. Something he's going to explode on his cohorts, and I remember the way they defeat him in the end. But I obviously I won't reveal that, because just in case you folks wanted to watch it.
And then we finished off with an episode of The Professionals, which I selected very randomly by saying season 3, episode 4, and we got quite a good one with
Dead Reckoning.
Yeah, with spies and family connections, and
that's right. I love a good spy story, and this delivered. It was kept you guessing, and it had lovely Carol Royal, who'd been a mutoid in Blake 7, and it was good stuff.
So a good meet up all in all, and I'm just sorry I'm just suddenly remembered that we hadn't recorded something for this episode, but now we have, so it's all done.
Yay!
this show. I mean, seriously, reverse it, because I lost. What's going on? What happened?
Oh, kitty, kitty, Dee. Purr, kitty, kitty, kitty. Oh, I love Dee. Well, gotta tell you, I didn't expect that.
509.
This is just the weirdest thing I've ever heard.